Here.
Yeah. What's good?
What's good?
We
You know
are
my story.
relocated. Taimur's got
I,
the new pad.
that is true. I am in the new crib. It is dark and cluttered right now. My apologies to the one person who may watch this in video eventually.
Sure. Dark, dark,
Uh,
and dark and cluttered like our minds, right?
Facts. That's a deep fucking statement, bro.
We're starting off strong.
Yeah, I just don't own a lot of stuff. So, bless you, David.
um, yeah, I
So,
think it's honestly it kind of sucks when you start buying stuff. Like it's nice, but then it's like, do you ever hear that idea that it's like everything you buy, you actually pay double for it because you got to pay for like transportation, storage, maintenance, all these things. Like it's
bro,
mad nice to have like as few things as possible.
I have the story about movers and fucking storage. I could just hop into that.
Yeah, let's get after it.
Okay, so for context, my girlfriend uh had a bunch of furniture and boxes and shit in storage in New York, and she is uh like giving some stuff to me, selling some stuff from my place, and had arranged for the movers to come on Friday, which is
From
my
that
moving day.
company that like
Okay, so I'm gonna get to that. So they were scheduled to come Friday morning. They came Friday morning. So when she left New
that's a
York, it
big
was
perk in itself
it was
that they actually showed up.
2020.
Yeah.
They did show up. So she left in 2020 during the pandemic, kind of rushed, and she found this company called Make Space that basically will like pack your stuff for you, at least like your furniture. They'll wrap it, desks, everything, right? Dressers, beds, like they'll wrap it in, stuff. And then they'll put it in a storage unit. And then whenever you want it, they'll bring it to you. So they were kind of storage and movers, like 2 in 1. So sometime in the last, I don't know, year, I think even 6 months, but maybe a year, MakeSpace was acquired by another storage moving company called Clutter, which was bigger, had a bigger clientele, was in many cities in the US. And we didn't sort of have any insight into why that happened, but it was like not really, it didn't affect us at all.
They just bought the company and was like white labeled,
all good. So Friday they show up. So at the same time, I'm also moving my stuff from my parents' place to the new apartment, and I'm using my buddy's older brother has like a moving business, so I just hit him up. So he moves my stuff. He gets my stuff in his van. Then I catch an Uber over here, so I get here before him. I pull up in the Uber, and the first thing I see is the Clutter truck and 3 of the Clutter guys standing on the curb looking at a car like, oh shit, right? So I'm like, okay, this ought to be good. The guy who was driving the Clutter truck, when he was pulling into the spot, the back of the truck caught the fender, and no, it didn't clip it. It fully ripped off the front of the car. Like it was 0% attached.
Damn.
And I have a picture of it, and I'll show you at some point.
He caught those hands, yeah.
Bro, okay. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be interesting. Another thing that happened was that we got a text basically of here's all this. My girlfriend ordered all of the stuff to be delivered because she didn't have too much, it can fit in my crib.
Whatever.
And they basically lost 3 of our items, right? And again, we have no insight context. It's just, okay, you have 43 things. We only found 40. They're coming, okay? So we're like, okay, this ought to be good.
Do they like compensate you for it or no?
So yeah, but listen. So
I'm waiting.
So they send you the list of the items that they found on the day of, right? So at least I saw the list on the day of. Maybe they sent it a couple days in advance. But like we look at the list and there's no couch, right? And like one of the things that I was gonna get from her was a couch. And like that's a thing that when you expect it and you don't get it, like it's a big thing to lose, right?
Sure.
So
you just put some foam on the bumper and then new couch, right?
Facts.
Yeah.
And so pull up, they have a bunch of stuff. They start taking it up. Then like we see they've broken like 3 things, right? Like her desk, a coffee table, this I don't know, like a bookshelf type of thing. And whatever, they start taking it up. There's not really anything we could do. I'm just taking pictures. They're taking pictures. The guys are really nice and they're like really professional. It was like things showed up broken. It wasn't like I saw them break it. Anyway, they like, as they're moving stuff in, I get to talking to the guys and they start telling me like, you know, kind of what happened with Make Space and Clutter. And so the info I got from them was Make Space had very low standard of employee training and like standard operating procedures for how they'll like
handle things, train,
handle things. And like one example they gave is like anytime we have a client Clutter that like gives us a desk, we always remove the legs. Like it's a required thing because just wrapping something in, you know, the wrapping, what is it, like the blankets, doesn't make it more secure because the geometry of the fucking thing is like
it's a lever. It's naturally a lever.
Exactly. So they're like, when we acquired MakeSpace and we started training the packers and the movers, they were like telling us we never got trained in any of this stuff. Like remove legs, you know, put corner protectors on things, you know, like wrap according like to a certain
standard procedure for like a moving company that's doing like not someone's pickup truck. Yeah.
Right. So he's telling me that because MakeSpace was breaking so many people's things, they started to get threats. And it all came to a head when at some point last year and a half, 2 years, a few MakeSpace trucks in Greenpoint were set on fire.
They're making a lot more space.
Deadass. And they were like, I mean, I'm assuming at that point they just didn't have a lot of leverage, so they sold. And they also, so I'm talking to these guys and they're like, yeah, there's a lot of issues with all the MakeSpace deliveries. One guy said 90% of the MakeSpace deliveries I've done that we've inherited have had at least one item broken, but a lot of them have been, you know, 1 to n items broken. And then they take everything out, right? And there's like not a lot of stuff left in the back of their truck. And in the corner of the truck, I see a couch that's yellow, and like my girlfriend's couch is a very specific couch,
yellow,
right? Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, yo, that's our couch. And he's like, he scans this like, no, it belongs to some dude named Brian. And I'm like, yo, just, I'm sure like
more text.
Brian. No. I was like, yo, I'm sure like it's not your guy's bad that you made a mistake, but could we just inspect and see if this is our couch? Because you guys,
the odds
like,
are
yeah, it's literally like a yellow couch. So what they do is they scan the thing. They have like a barcode, and it shows the picture that was taken by the client when it was like getting packed, and it's literally the picture that my girlfriend sent me. So I'm like, this is our couch, and it turns out that the couch was broken. So like the legs were completely ripped off in a way that maybe if you take it to like a furniture specialist, they could fix it. But I just wasn't going to do that. So, yeah, it was just a shit show. And my feeling is that it actually isn't Clutter's fault. It was more like the inheriting, you know,
but that's the nature of an acquisition and depth that they acquired. Yeah.
Right. So there is, you know, luckily a process for, you know, like getting money from them through like insurance and whatever, but definitely just a headache of a morning. And then my bed that was going to get delivered didn't get delivered.
What'd you end up copying?
The Floyd bed. Bed frame. It's a frame. It's not a mattress. Yeah. I have mattress. My girlfriend gave me a mattress, but I have a bed frame, and it was supposed to get delivered, and then it didn't get delivered. And I was on the phone with customer service representatives offshore for like 2 hours, and I was just losing like my patience because they couldn't tell me why it wasn't getting delivered. And
you got to just kind of bite.
I was like, yo, give me, they're like, yo, we can't get in touch with our like warehouse. Of like, give me the number of the warehouse. They're like, no, we can't do that. I'm like, is there anyone in America I could talk to? They're like, no. I was like,
I know, livid. Yeah.
I wasn't livid. I was just like, this is so
just so frustrating because there's like a solution right there, and it's like they're arbitrarily like blocking you.
Yeah, and then like whatever, I like went and got some food and then felt a lot better, and then emailed Floyd because they used like a
Sure, third party
shipping
service.
company. Yeah. And they were like, yo, we're sorry. We're going to refund you the delivery cost, which was like $200. So I was like, okay, fine. I'm cool with this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it wasn't really a shit show altogether, but
it's a move in New York City. You gotta like, you figure it's gonna be like 80%. Like,
yeah.
Yo, honestly though, the founder of MakeSpace was like a prophet. They looked ahead and they were like, we're gonna break mad shit, and we're gonna make space for you. Like, we're gonna break all your shit. Exactly. Wow, that's wild. But well, I'm glad you got most of your stuff in. Hopefully, you get
look,
some, a few bucks, buy some new stuff. Everyone's happy. Like,
yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's fine. It's like you said, just a move in New York. I'm sure everyone goes through shit like this.
Sure.
My girlfriend was definitely the angrier one, because it was her stuff. It wasn't really my stuff, but it was definitely a headache to deal with. But that all is done, and now I'm just trying to get some basic furniture to make this apartment feel like home. I'm looking for couches and, well, a couch, a rug. Probably hold off on a TV for a little bit, but
sure.
I mean, I got this like
the John
pretty small TV, which will be good for a while.
You'll figure it out. You get like a Black Friday like massive TV for like $150.
Yo, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. I think, and I gotta get like a good computer chair. But we talked about like how to approach that.
Right.
And like honestly, Facebook Marketplace, if you can like travel, like even like 2-mile radius,
you can get mad good stuff.
You can get so much good stuff.
Yeah. I know. Facebook Marketplace too. I think you get higher quality items than with Craigslist. I don't know if it's because people's names are slapped to it, or I don't know what, but like, I don't know. I've generally had better luck with that.
My theory is that Craigslist attracts more people who have more of a hustle. Like, if I'm selling on Craigslist, I really care about like getting this deal. And I've seen a lot in Facebook Marketplace, like, just get this shit off my hands. Like, I don't care. I'll eat the cost. I don't want the headache of like moving this and stuff like that. Like, I bought this 5 years ago. I don't even care if I lose $1,000 on this couch. Like, I just don't want to get out the door.
Yeah. I feel like it also skews, more like millennial Gen X. So it's just like,
like, it's crazy how many like nice items you'll find on Facebook Marketplace for like $1 must be picked up today. You know, it's like, what?
Did I ever tell you I bought this? I have this like decent sized mirror in my like apartment that I got for like way cheaper than whatever it was, and like it was actually, we ended up like this person went to Santa Clara, and then like really? Completely coincidentally, I was like, wait, what? Like, what are the odds of this? But yeah, I'm a fan. Well, Godspeed on getting it furnished, and honestly, I feel like you're through like the worst part for the most part.
No, I'm pretty excited about like the furnishing, because I'm also like,
it's fun.
I put aside like some money because I knew I'd have to do this, so I'm like down to at least get a couch and like a nice chair.
Sure. Fine.
All right, your turn.
Cool.
Tell me your saga.
So I am also in a new location. I'll give a quick view. I can't really describe this. I mean, I can, but so basically in a new place, and here's the story. It is 12 o'clock at night. I'm about to put my like phone down, and my roommate David texts me and is like, yo, you in the living room? And I'm like, or he's like, did you just turn the lights on? I was like, no, like, what happened? And he's like, yo, the lights just turned on in the living room. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. And he's like, yo, you're fucking with me. I'm like, no. I'm like in my bed right now. And the two of us are like, holy shit. Like, we have I'll send you like a thread of the text. Is hilarious. And I'm like, yo, I don't think I got any like valuables out there. And then David texts and he's like, bro, we are the fucking valuables. Like we're screwed. And we're like tweaking out. We're like, yo, should we like get like security? Like, what do we do? And we're like, all right, we're gonna look under our doors. And we were both like on the floor of our doors that are next to each other, like trying to see if there's like movement out there, anything. We don't see anything. And we text them like, all right, on 3, we're just gonna run outside. So like 1, 2, 3, and we go outside, and like no one was there. But the lights, like the light switch isn't like a little switch or anything. It's like you have to fully turn. Like it was like you had to fully turn this thing, and it was fully turned. So someone definitely came in. I think my light was in my room, so maybe they like saw it and then just like pieced out. But someone was 100% in our apartment, and we also had like other complications. Like you could only plug into like one plug at a time. The like lights would flicker. The Wi-Fi like didn't reach like certain like the patio or even our like bedrooms. So like it was just mad annoying. So yeah, I had to go through a whole process of like, yeah, saying our Airbnb was shit. And yeah, we were able to relocate, and we got like a nicer spot. So we're on like a 3-story penthouse overlooking like this beautiful park in Mexico City, still in La Condesa. And yeah, it worked out like for the better. And this place has like pool, gym. We're on like 14th floor. Like it's just like dope. And yeah, so that is our relocation story. That was like our sketchiest thing. We had one other one where we had to get in this like really sketchy taxi to go to from Oaxaca to the airport. And we're like trying to call Uber. Uber wouldn't work. We're trying to find a cab. We couldn't, like all cabs were like taken. And we see this sketchy ass car with like a sticker on the side. Like nothing, like we're like we're gonna die. So we like get in the car. This guy's speaking mad Spanish, and we don't speak a lick of Spanish. So we both have our phone turned on like Google Translate, like holding up behind the guy's head, behind his like headrest, and we're like trying
to man.
Yeah, we're just trying to. We're like, what the is this guy like calling his boys? Like we about to end up like like bag over our head, like, and I mean then we're like, all right, fuck it, we need a plan. So we're like looking up mad sentences, like you made a wrong turn, like you're going the wrong way, and then we're like, all right, we don't have. No, he wasn't. Like this guy was like so chill, but we're like tweaking out because it's like a ratchet ass car, and we're going through like Oaxaca, at least the city, like part of it's really nice, but then once you get in the outskirts, it's like very quickly drops off. So we're talking like mad strategy. We're like, David's like, all right, I'm gonna like rear naked choke this guy, and like, yo, we need a weapon though. And we're also like, yo, can we like jump out the window here, like. And I'm like, yo, worst case, we got to get the headrest, like pull the headrest out. That's like 2 metal bars. I was like, that will secure. That's like, we could like, 2 of us, we got this guy. But yeah, and then the guy like casually took the direct route to the airport. We were like totally fine, but it was hilarious because we're just like James, whatever, like full like planning out how we're gonna like escape from this guy. But yeah, a few sketchy situations, but overall having like an amazing time, and yeah, just pivoting towards like a positive direction if shit hits the fan. Yeah, like we've lost phones, I don't know, but
phones have been lost.
David thought he got pickpocketed today, and then we checked to find my iPhone, and he left it in the Uber, and then it was like a whole process because we can't even like we couldn't Google Translate the call. So then we had to go down to like the security guard and have them talk in Spanish, and then the guy came.
That's nice.
Yeah. So it's been there's been some complications, but we get.
Did you ever consider that the light turning on was a ghost?
We thought maybe because the electrical was like so shitty, like it was actually hilarious. Like if you plug 2 things in, the lights would just start like strobe lighting basically. So we're like, maybe this went on, but like the thing was fully turned, and there's no like, I mean, maybe it's a ghost, but like it's safe to assume like it probably was someone entering. But
I mean, look, taking the route and assuming it is always the better thing to do.
Sure.
Damn, that's wild.
Dude. Yeah, we were 2 weeks and then we're up and we're just like going crazy. We're checking every single like door, window. We're like, where the hell did this guy come in? And all the Airbnb people did. Did you see any like footprints or anything? No. But we just were like, there's just no reasonable explanation really. I mean, besides like someone came in, turned it, and then saw the other lights were on, but. We have and we were also like we had like multiple entrances into the apartment, and there's like this big like glass like sliding windows, this glass door, so like
it felt vulnerable.
It definitely felt, and like yeah, there was definitely some. I mean, it was really nice for the most part, but there was definitely like it was not it wouldn't shock us that someone had come in.
Word.
But yeah, now we hopefully landed on our feet, knock on wood. But this spot's been dope so far.
2 hours later.
Yeah, literally. But yeah, so that's that update. Yeah, Mexico City's been dope. My neighbor actually came to visit CDMX, and we like hung out. We got like dinner, and yeah, we just had like a dope time. And yeah, I don't know. It's just been really fun eating mad good food. Obviously, you know, hitting up El Baño quite a bit. But
oh my god, dude, I'm still messed up. Honestly,
you gotta take like a thing of probiotics and yogurt.
I just like haven't done it.
Yeah,
I should. I will, but I'm like good. It's just I feel the damage.
Sure. One plate of halal has enough probiotics for like 3 years, so maybe you got to cop that.
And antibiotics too.
Literally, that's got like the next. That's got like the next vaccine. Yeah, literally.
Thanks.
What else has been new in the new pad and and like Brooklyn and being home and
yeah. So, I mean, in general, just it feels good to be back in New York. Like I'm close to my parents. You know, it is amazing how magical New York is in the summer. Like and like even just the way the light hits is different. You know, something about it's different.
Are you seducing the city right now? Like,
yeah, I mean, like just the way, like my apartment faces, which way do I face? North, but it's a good north. It's like northwest. So I get tons of light throughout the day, and especially in the evening. And yeah, I mean, like Brando's close by, Sean and Colleen are close by, my friend Will is close. Like a bunch of friends are close by who also are all doing like similar thing to what I'm doing, which is like music. And I just have gone for a lot of walks in the neighborhood, and like I've seen the food. It's a great food location, but also like there's like 2 barbershops like a block away, like nice looking places.
Better than you gotta see. Are you gonna leave your boy Taco?
I don't.
It's probably cheaper. It's probably cheaper. Probably still a great haircut. Like
I don't want to leave Taka. It's just the commute is kind of brolic. I mean, maybe I could take like the M train because I'm like kind of close to the M train. Like I could walk to the M train like maybe like 10 minutes. And I do miss the boy Taka, but I don't know. There's something about the convenience about like having like I want to try out the places close by because if they are good, you know.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna make sense. And it's probably a cheaper cut. It's convenient, yeah. We actually had a funny story about a barber today. So David got a haircut down here, fly like dirt cheap. We're like looking at our new apartment, and like next to us there's like these balconies, and this guy is getting a haircut like on his balcony. Like the barber came to him, like what I used to do. So literally we like open up the door like, yo, and the guy's like, and we literally like exchange Instagram, whatever, text, and he's gonna come give us cuts on our roof and like probably this week.
That's fire.
And it's like $15 house call haircut. Like
$15 even sounds expensive for Mexico City prices.
Yeah. But I mean, this guy like his Instagram
looks
like
elite,
and like he literally comes here. So
yeah, no, that's super for $15. That's so elite.
Yeah. I mean, New York, that's easily.
I would pay like 50 for that. Like
easily.
I would pay 50 USD if someone like a really good haircut could come to my like apartment or roof and just give me a fly cut.
In New York though, that's gonna run like
100
probably at least but yeah that's I'm sure you're gonna have like a bunch of dope spots around you. You're gonna be like, yo, this spot got like whatever fire like XYZ.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm excited to. So last night was Sean's birthday party.
Yeah, I saw people post that.
And I just met a few people who I had sort of met in passing, but not like ever really talked to. And I met this guy, Misha, who just had a sick DJ set at Brandon's roof for Sean's birthday. And then we start talking, and he like his job is that he teaches like the software of music production.
Okay.
and we just connected and
like how to use the software
yeah,
that like
yeah,
DJs
yeah.
will use to like blend shit, whatever.
Not just DJs, but any like any musician.
Sound,
Like
someone who's going to be in
Kevin
the
Parker,
studio, right?
like Kevin Parker uses Ableton Live.
Right.
And he's been teaching it for like 10 years. So we connected, and I'm like gonna sort of learn from him because I'm okay, but I wouldn't say
There's
I'm
like levels to
dangerous.
it.
I mean,
There's
like I want
levels.
to, like the way I think about it, and this is kind of like an idea about. I heard somewhere sometime, and this is like a stupid way to put it, but it resonated with me. Some guy described like being really good at a skill as you're able to do it when you're depressed. And I would just translate that to like you're able to do it when you don't like do it well, when you don't feel motivated and you don't
Sure.
feel like you don't feel high energy. And like I think
Your
about
off days are
guitar.
slide.
Exactly. Like I think about guitar, and like I could be like in the worst mood possible, and my actual skill of playing will be like it'll be good, you know, because
Sure.
I've been doing it for so fucking long. Like
Sure.
have
your neighbors complained yet?
I haven't played guitar yet.
Gotta bless the space.
I haven't done it yet, but I want to get to that level where like the software 0% of it's a bottleneck. It's just another tool that I use to do what I need to do. And if you think about like skill acquisition in general, you know, I don't really feel like skill acquisition. It never feels linear. It's always like I'm stuck at one level and then I jump, you know, and like something that was hard becomes easy, you know?
You like see that exponent, like series of
like
exponential curve. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I always think like the best metaphor to me has been like the graph of phase shift of like water. I mean, any element to go from one state of matter to the other, but like, you know, water doesn't become ice progressively. I mean, it does once it reaches a certain temperature, but it's not like anything, you know, above 32 degrees Fahrenheit. It's not like kind of ice. It's purely water, and then you do that, and it goes to ice. You know,
liquid type.
Same thing if you're boiling. Like you hit 100 Celsius, 212 Fahrenheit. That's when it like starts boiling. And if you visualize that as a graph, it goes from like it's linear, then boom, boom, and that's
how they talk about like technological innovation. It's a lot of these big jumps, and then like innovation on that, and then like just like quick spikes. I mean, this is more of a 90-degree angle kind of jump, but same thing.
It feels like it. I mean, it feels like it, right? So yeah, I met this dude, and like we connected. He's also like a New Yorker. So there was just an energy.
In Brooklyn or no?
He lives in Brooklyn. Yeah, he lives in Bushwick. But he also has a studio like in Greenpoint where like he has a drum set. And I was talking to him, and he was like, "Yeah, like I got a studio just because I needed to find a place to play drums in the city." And like, how many years I've been telling you that?
Yeah. So you're gonna throw. You should throw like. Does he have like set time or it's just his?
He has set time. But yeah, we just got to talking, and like I'm definitely gonna work with this dude and learn from him. So that's like very exciting to me right now.
That's definitely the beauty of New York is just like you can just meet so many people like and such a wide range of people so easily.
Yeah, and I think I sort of forgot. I don't know, when you leave your home and come back, it kind of hits you harder, like how much like the place is, like how much the place is in you. Like coming back after being in Miami pretty much for a year, and then like like going to like I just went to Oasis for dinner, like to get a shawarma, and just walking from here to there just felt good. It like felt like, yeah, this is my home, you know?
I was saying that like I don't know if I mentioned this last time. Like I felt the contrast of New York extremely, like very heavily while I came here. Like even though there's a lot of overlap in a lot of parts I liked, like it really highlighted, I don't know, just the social aspect and I don't know, just a lot of the great parts of New York. The facts. That's dope. I'm glad to hear you connected with this dude, and it sounds like I don't know, you guys want to like move in similar directions and like at a similar pace, which is important.
Yeah. And it was just a cool connection. And it's more just about like, yeah, what you said in New York. You just meet so many people. And I think this was sort of the experience I've been longing for, because until now, I don't know, I think it's like a bigger point where I was talking to Vilter about this maybe like 2 months ago. And we were saying, like where we are right now in life feels like a different chapter than the chapter directly after college. You know,
Sure.
like
I think this is like where like you've kind of set like everyone's kind of settled down a little bit. Like certain social circles have kind of like settled a bit work wise. Like people know kind of what path they're generally on. Like and like now everyone's kind of like, okay, what is the next like move in many aspects of life? They're like,
yeah, there definitely feels like there's a bit of an exhalation. Like, okay, I'm not on ice anymore, you know, and that might be an illusion because, you know, the rug can be pulled from you at any time, but barring, you know, extreme events, it feels a lot, not just more secure, but also like there is a knowledge, like I have a sense of where I'm going and what I'm doing.
sure.
And there's kind of like a proving to oneself, like, okay, like I knew it would be good, you know, like I knew I'd be good, but now I feel like I'm good. Like I've proved to myself like I'm good, you know?
Sure.
At this level anyway.
I think we were talking about this the other day. Like, do you have this belief if everything was like stripped from you, you're like thrown on the streets, like you could, you know, get to where you are now or higher or whatever. And like, I don't know, we both felt like very confident on that front. And like,
yeah,
I think it's like, I don't know, like corny, but there's that saying like a bird feels secure on a branch, not because the branch is secure, but because it can fly. Like if it breaks, like I think it's a similar thing where it's like, yeah, you kind of have some confidence that like, you know, you can make things happen. I mean, maybe people don't have that, but I think, I think at the stage you kind of.
I feel like we have that, and are fortunate too, you know.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, like I work in crypto, and you know, I'm not really all too worried that if, you know, the rug is pulled from either individually or the company, whatever, which doesn't seem like it'll be the case, but if it happens, I'm not really scared that I won't be able to find something, you know?
Sure. And I also think like whatever, the skill to like learn something new in the time being, let's say for the kid, like would be fun. Like
yeah.
But who knows? That reality might have a test in store, but we'll
dude, I mean, if you listen to biology, weird, like fucked up times are coming. Shit. Yeah, he's predicting, you know, complete anarchy in the US, and I don't know if he's right or wrong. I think he's a lot smarter than me and more gives it more thought.
Like Sri Lanka.
Crazy. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that, I mean, you look at January 6th, what, last year, like that was obviously not the same thing, but spiritually doesn't seem too far off. I'm not making a prediction that something is going to happen like that, but
sure. I mean, there's that saying, right? Like every leader knows, or like every country leader knows, like a revolution's 3 missed meals away. Like everything can change extremely quickly, but I don't know. I think if things did change extremely quickly, like everything is still relative. Like maybe things won't be as magnificent, but like relatively will be okay. And like maybe that's not true, but yeah, I don't know. Who knows what is in store? And I feel like if you look back over the last 10 years, right, arguably some of the most prosperous times for the US, like all you heard in the media, or like 15 years, right? All you've heard in the media was like, oh, this is going to crash. This is going to go down. Like it's just like this constant narrative. And like maybe sure we're getting closer to that and we're due for that. But like, I don't know. I think you just have to execute and like continue living your life as if like, I don't know, just keep improving, and macro will be macro. Like,
yeah, I think a corollary to that is I don't know. I just like to focus on like what is the best thing I can do right now.
Right.
There's always going to be something that is the best thing that you can do.
Sure.
And when you think like that, it just doesn't make sense to like even like if you can identify what is the best thing to do. Sometimes, you know, if you want to get really granular, you might be wrong, but like directionally, it's pretty simple, I think, to, you know, like if we're talking about right now, like, okay, save money, work hard, increase your skill set, you know, limit spending. That those principles apply in any fucking macroeconomic like conditions, you know, like
exactly.
On top of that, like you want to add like personal things, be in good shape, eat healthy, learn self-defense, like all these kinds of things.
Never not gonna be relevant and helpful, and like compounded yeah, it's going to do well. And obviously certain things may be paused due to macro events, whatever, but like, yeah, I think it's just a foolproof strategy for sure.
Facts.
But who knows? We'll see what happens, and we'll keep doing our thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Did you check out that Deep Mind podcast at all? The founder
I'm
of
a
Deep Mind?
little bit into it. But
Okay.
there's been so many good podcasts recently
I
that I
know.
find myself like doing 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and then like jumping to another one.
Sure.
But it's on the queue. I have it saved and downloaded. And I'm like 25 minutes in.
Okay.
The guy sounds stupid smart.
Yeah, he's like, and he's like known, like certified, like genius, like whole life. And his work schedule is like ridiculous. But it was like, I was listening to him talk, and I forget what other podcast or like book I was reading, and I was just like, despite all crazy macro things that might be going on, whatever, like I feel like extremely optimistic on like the future of humanity, despite everything like going wrong, whatever. I think there's just like a few key things where like you can just tell things are going to keep progressing, and it's just like so exciting. Oh, the other thing I was watching was you know how Elon Musk lives in that like $50,000 house? It was this big tour of their like multiple football size fields. Right? Yeah, they did a tour of their factory, and like basically they were like, we'll get a new house out the door every like 90 seconds once this is like fully running. And like if you think about that, like
yeah, it's crazy.
$50,000, and like very modular, very easy to build, like sustainably built. Like if you think about how, I mean, obviously installation will cost money and getting things set up to the grid, whatever, but like if you think how powerful that is, like a shelter where people can stay for $50,000, which will likely only get better in terms of like price, quality, speed. Like housing is one of the most essential parts of like mankind, and like to be able to like to know that this can be a successful business model, and if it does well, you're going to get competitors and things. It's just whatever. Like the economy will like the market will take over. Like it's just a super exciting future for like what housing can be like on top of AI and all these things. Like, and these are just a few core things that can go right that just like set everything else up for like huge success. Yeah.
I think that's so important. And hearing you talk about this, I am like sort of taking a step back and realizing like a lot of Twitter, even like if you don't become very intentional about looking for sort of positive signal, it's very easy to think that like I have not, I mean, I knew that this company was working on this, and I watched some videos on them, but I didn't know that. And I just sort of like forgot that this existed. And like there are, you know, probably a lot of positive signals to be listened to and paid attention to, or to pay attention to, that I don't find bubble up in my Twitter feed. And it makes me think of something interesting that Huberman said. He said, I think in the 70s or 80s, when like we were really starting to like experiment with the brain, there was this either one or series of experiments that the researcher, you couldn't really run this experiment now, but at the time was placing electrodes into people's brains and giving them like control over like stimulating different parts of their brains. Have I told you about this before? Or
I've heard of this. I think they had like a dial to do like happiness or like pleasure, right? Like
happiness, pleasure, sadness, anger, frustration, and what do you think was the thing that got stimulated the most? Like, what was the thing that people liked stimulating the most? You can say what you think.
Whatever. I'll go with the naive answer, like pleasure.
Right. That's what probably everyone was hypothesizing. By far the winner was frustration.
Interesting.
So there seems to be something hardwired in us where the feeling of like frustration, not exactly like seething anger, but like being pissed off, that feeling, there's something about that that's highly addictive. And people can, you know, make
someone want to pay me. Someone want to pay me, I will. Like, I'm gonna create a business that'll piss you off all day. Like, you walk down the street,
it's called Twitter, bro.
Yeah, literally. Like,
so that's what I'm saying. Like, there must be like something in the way these algorithms, because these algorithms really just want to maximize time spent on platform.
Sure.
And it seems like, it might be hardwired into us that, we are spending the most time when the content pisses us off.
Sure. And I mean, there's that thing, right? Where like we're twice as like responsive to a loss than we are to a gain. Like, and I think like evolutionary, right? Like, I hate evolutionary like theories, but like being cautious like pays off. Like if you're if you're overly cautious, like in many ways like pays off. But yeah, I don't know. And it's also this thing, right? Like there's so many little things that can happen that can like potentially turn into like a bad thing, right? Like, and you only need one thing to go like really bad, right? Like a war or whatever to like consume everything. But also like on the positive front, there's so many people like dedicating their life towards positive things. And if even just like one takes off, like it can have huge impact. Like the guy who found penicillin, right? Like it was one thing, one innovation, like one blip in time, and like just completely brought humanity on a different like path. And like same thing with like housing, AI, like these few things, if they go right, like everything else, it eases the burden of everything else needing to go right. So yeah,
yeah, dude, wild.
Wow.
I remember I was way more techno optimistic when I was in high school and I read Michio Kaku's book. You know who Michio Kaku is?
Yeah.
I read his book, Physics of the Future, where it was really, I read it like maybe 2011, and I think it came out that year. And what it was like a book of predictions based on technologies that were already in development at some stages. And honestly, I don't remember. The one thing that I do remember that still hasn't happened to the extent that he predicted, but it does seem directionally it'll get there, is like smart glasses, goggles type of thing.
Sure. People think Apple, apparently Tim Cook like hinted that Apple is like going to release something like that soon. But
bro, it's probably gonna be so elite.
yeah, I'm sure.
Can you imagine like you have a fly pair of like Oliver Peoples that just have like a MacBook in the eye
built in, yeah,
and you just interact with, dude, there's so many interesting ideas.
We'll just get brain cancer in like 3 days though. Like, but no, I'm joking. But
yeah, I mean, it's sometimes I think about like just how frequently I have my AirPods in, and it's like I'm not going to tinfoil hat and make a prediction like it is bad or it's not bad, but sometimes I think like, is this shit like harmful? Like you have fucking electricity in your ear.
Sure. I mean, we're in one massive experiment. Like things are moving so quick. Like we're just one after another, like throwing drugs, technology, like all these different things. I'm sure we're gonna look back and be like, we should never have put like the Chinese takeout in the microwave. Like that was gonna like take 10 years off your life. Like,
I mean, you should have just never got the Chinese takeout, period.
Yeah. That's how you reseed your gut though with bacteria.
Bro, I would be so terrified to eat like sesame chicken right now just because of how fragile my stomach feels.
I had Chinese food today in Mexico. I was like,
bro, what? Why?
I'm wild boy like that.
That's some you shit, honestly.
Eric Grills. What was I gonna say before? Oh, I was gonna say the book, the Makaku book. I feel like we've talked about this at some point. But did you read The Sovereign Individual?
I started it maybe like 25%.
Yeah. Two brothers in the 1990s like made mad predictions. I mean, they honestly like probably the precursor to like Balaji's book in certain ways, but also just talk about like cryptocurrency, internet, like remote work, and like many of the things like slowly through time. It's like, okay, this looks like directionally true. Like this looks like it's kind of happening, and like maybe things won't continue down these paths, but like it's a wild book to read because it seems like it could have been published yesterday, and it was published 25 years ago.
Yeah, I got that sense. I think I was just in a period of life where I couldn't give it that book. Like you need to focus really hard.
Sure.
And I think I was trying to get the job at City when I was doing it. And I was like, I need to devote more time to like study. Sure. But honestly, I have it on my Kindle, so I just gotta pick it. But there's so many good books right now.
Yeah. It's not really like you honestly won't like get that much out of it. It's more of just like this just extreme interest of just like, wow, these two brothers.
Yeah,
made, like,
but I remember the idea that they start the book with, which is I had never heard before. I don't know if it was their original idea or not, but they talk about how one of the forces that has moved history forward is the constant evolution of the logic of violence. So whichever parties are capable of inflicting the most violence and end up being the parties that dictate which way history goes. And this force shapes culture. And like when you say that, yeah, that makes sense. But I just never thought of it that way before.
Sure.
And interestingly, Peter Thiel, he got a lot of shit for supporting Trump, and that's obvious why. But when he was like asked why he supported Trump, he said that he believed Trump as a president would result in like second and third order effects in the long run of reducing violence that humanity experiences. And I don't remember why he said he believed that. So I can't really dissect it here, but I just remember.
I'm curious to hear that argument. I mean,
it
sounds like complete opposite, but I'm curious.
He cited this book.
I think it probably was the sense of like having like production done locally, like in one's nation. That probably is like a big aspect to it, because like now we're like very dependent on China, and like whatever, you're seeing Sri Lanka being dependent on Russia. Like, I don't know, you don't want to be the root access. You don't want someone else to have root access at your.
Yeah. I mean, that is one thing I do remember him saying was like, people don't understand or don't take seriously the fact that we are not independent like we should be. And he was talking about, Peter Thiel was saying one of the things that sovereign democratic nations need to work towards is energy independence. And his opinion was that in the short to medium term, energy independence has to take precedent over clean energy, which I think is a point of view that a lot of sophisticated conservatives have, which is that the sort of politics of energy interdependence motivates a lot of political and military conflicts. Right. And we got and did you listen to Andreessen on Rogan the other day?
Parts of it.
It's worth listening to the end. The guy is, he is for a reason. He's very intelligent and knows a lot about a lot. And one thing he was talking about is, like nuclear energy. Like we have the solution, the engineering is there, the reward to risk is the like ratio is disproportionately better than anything we have right now. And the thing is like nuclear is just one of those words that people hear it and freak out. But like he asked this on Rogan, he asked this to Joe Rogan. He said, how many deaths, and I'm asking this to you right now, how many deaths
coal versus nuclear? Yeah.
But listen, like how many deaths do you think you can attribute directly to nuclear meltdown since we started doing fission reactors? I'm curious what you think.
It's probably like sub 5,000.
Okay. It's either 0 or 1.
I mean,
no. And I'm telling you why. The one thing is one guy who was working on the Fukushima reactor meltdown after the fact, like cleaning up. He developed lung cancer, and he pursued like litigation against whoever.
But what about like in Russia? Like,
no, none of them can be directly attributed.
All right. I mean,
listen to the podcast.
I would listen to it. I'm curious, but
listen to the podcast. He addresses it. Okay. But
I mean, I'm all for like Jay grew up in New Mexico, close to Los Altos, everything. Like, there's still a very like the community of nuclear science, I believe, is still active there. And Jay said one of his like friends' moms or something was like physicist, whatever, and she was like, it's purely like it's 0% a science like physics issue. It's purely a governmental like public perception issue. She was like, we are like so far behind, and this is like the stupidest thing.
The engineering is like, it's so safe. The designs they have for reactors now were like, there's not like from an engineering perspective, the problem is solved. It's not even like it's a probability, like it's solved,
100%.
And it's just
Keep going, sorry.
No, you go.
I was going to say it was from the I'll say it after. Go.
Yeah. I don't even know what I wanted to say. I'm frustrated that like all these fucking like Twitter activists who talk about the climate, none of them fucking say anything about like nuclear. Like
sure.
What? And I'm guilty of that because I didn't know this shit before like listening to this Andreessen podcast, but I also wasn't like stating my opinion very loudly to anyone because I was like, I don't know enough.
No, exactly.
I still feel like I don't know enough because I could,
sure.
but like, I think one of the most powerful ideas, and I think the world would be a better place if people thought this way, but you know how Ray talks about believability? Mm-hmm. Like, I think it's not bad you can't derive every opinion from first principles. Like, there's just not enough time and you just have limited energy. But I think the next best thing is to pursue the opinions of people that have a high probability of being right. In other words, who are highly believable. So you look at people who are like, who's more useful to listen to? A politician about an engineering problem or an extremely high level engineer,
right.
you know?
Right.
And so I could go off on that topic, but
sure.
I
also think, especially considering, like, I feel like many engineers, many physicists, like their intentions are so pure to truth and science. And like, I know there's a whole talk about like science is this evolutionary process. It's not this like one answer, but like like intent is so pure. And like, I don't know, it's generally people that are incredibly intelligent. Maybe not socially, but yeah.
And it's just like, I know people like, if I was like, yo, we should go nuclear, they're like, no, we can't do that. And you ask them why. It's just crazy. And I know I'm guilty of it. Everyone's guilty of it. But it is crazy to grow up and like have it confirmed over and over again that human beings, by and large, do not form their beliefs according to like rationality and or just like logic or like sort of. They don't use a methodology that is robustly going to lead you to truth.
Sure.
You know?
But I also think
there's a lot of good beyond.
I also think it goes beyond the micro though too. Like, have you ever read say what you want about him, whatever Malcolm Gladwell's like Tipping Point book?
I haven't.
Basically just the idea of that like macro events can be like the tipping point of where that is very like sensitive, and it can be like 1 or 2%, 5% of people can sway the group for 100, right? And in U.S. politics, right, it's like 51% can sway the whole 100%, right? But he talks about like how like kosher foods, right? Like it's so much easier for a company to make something kosher that like most products will have the kosher. They'll be kosher even though like a fraction of the population will use it, just because like it's basically like free extra sales to make it kosher. And he talks about, just like, and I think similar thing, there are a few people that are extremely passionate about not going nuclear can, and there's probably a large part of people that aren't very pro about it can like sway the whole group.
Are you sure you're not referencing Skin in the Game? Because Nassim writes about that, because he talks about that exact example about kosher, and he calls it the rule of the intolerant minority.
There's, I
maybe
think
it's like a similar thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's like a whole bunch of ideas, but the whole book is just that like, that basically like
there's some critical mass that might be much smaller than intuition would lead you to think.
It's not 50%, it's oftentimes can be like 10, and it can create this snowball effect. What I was going to say before was from that interview, founder of DeepMind, they are talking about fission, and basically when you control, like when you have nuclear fission, you basically have to create hot plasma that's like multiples the heat of the sun, and you can't do that with a shield, right? Like not just a piece of metal. So what you have to use is like incredibly powerful magnetic fields to control the flow. And basically they're using like AI to basically control how that heated plasma stays insulated, and it's like to a T perfect for like this problem. So just interesting.
Do you mean for fission or fusion? Because that sounds like fusion.
What do we right now? We use
fission.
This is for fusion.
Okay, fusion. That sounds like fusion because they are developing it with magnetic, and they're like this like donut shaped reactor.
But yeah, and it's like a few of these crazy interesting technologies like coming together and like
Damn, I gotta listen to this podcast. You're getting me hyped
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it. I know when you texted me about it, you were like 5. Like it's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, like
He just
looking
sounds
back, I'd
dumb
probably get like a
smart,
4.8, 4.7, whatever, but like mad good. And like I don't know, just I listened. I don't think I've listened to like a 2 whatever hour podcast in one go, and like this, I was just like it was just mad interesting.
No, yeah, okay. I'm gonna do that tonight. I'm gonna do that tonight.
Yeah.
I don't think I can like what would you say is a 5? So for context, Marco and I, for the last couple years, we've been using a system of rating of 1 to 5 for recommending each other like anything, like food, movies, music, media, podcasts, books. And I think like we decided like if it's a 4 or above, we're just going to take the other's word for it and like read it or consume it. And it's been
mad useful system,
mad good system.
Because people recommend mad stuff, and you're like, oh, is this actually worth like dropping what I'm doing and listening versus like passively? Yeah.
I just think we've gotten to the point where we've recommended so many 4+ that there's just like a queue. Like you told me about Hormozi's book like 6 months ago, and I still haven't gotten to it just because I'm catching up on like other things that are also like 4s and shit like that.
Sure. But
what
now
would you
you're
say
like
is like a 5 podcast? Like
I mean,
I know what for me,
the second Balaji podcast I'd say is a 5, like on lock.
That was so good.
Yeah.
For me, the first Charles Poliquin on Tim Ferriss was like mind blowing. Honestly, the first Jimmy Chin was maybe impact 5. I don't know if it's re-listen value 5, but definitely impact 5, like 100%.
I thought Terry Crews on Tim was
the first
amazing.
time.
I always like look back and just a lot of wisdom in what he was saying. Yeah.
Also, like maybe the first Naval or like one of the first Navals. Yo, that first like 2 years of Tim was like worth its weight in like whatever the most precious fucking thing is in the world. Like, like, like it's more I genuinely believe if you do an apples to apples comparison of the like curriculum of 99% of college degrees, and listening to that one podcast, I think you get more out of like everything that basically made up Tools of Titans. If you listen to those episodes and treat it like a school, it's like disproportionately better.
For sure. I mean, school is very archaic, and I know we both agree to that, but
yeah. I mean, I think the evidence is there. Like, this world values people who can make and sell things. People who can make things and people who can sell things. And
people, I think it's people who can solve problems and people who can solve problems at scale.
Right.
Anymore now.
And who can demonstrate a high level of skill. It's not just that, because you can also be skilled at like non-problem solving things, but basically just like.
But like what? Like what's not a problem solved?
I mean, we can get into the semantics. I'm just thinking you can be like a high level artist, you know, and if you're really
that's solving
good, like. I guess, yeah, exactly. I'm saying you can get into semantics.
Sure.
But like, yeah, people who know how to give people what they want and then at scale.
Sure.
And I don't even think college really teaches that, because I don't remember anyone talking about like, scale, like scale. It's crazy. Like, I don't know. I get the sense like, what is the process? I think about this when I took a poli-sci class. Like, what is the process through which someone like builds the curriculum? And sometimes I think like because these ideas are like building on top of each other, or morphing at least, I think it does disservice to not cover like current innovations in political science. And maybe there's just too much curriculum, but I feel like an intro class should cover like 30,000 foot view, like from when, know, whenever like they start to current day. Because I'm thinking like Nassim is a very sophisticated political scientist that I would be surprised if anyone studies like skin in the game, anti-fragile in like a poli-sci major.
I think it gets difficult. Like, I mean, I guess education is like whatever you want it to be, but I think it's interesting. Like, I feel like modern school is like, let's teach the oldest, most true thoughts through time because they've held true for the longest time. But like now things move so quickly that it's like, okay, like, yes, you want to have your fundamentals down, but like, yeah, it just doesn't keep up. But I think it becomes, I don't know, it's this question of what is the point of an education? To get a job? Is it to educate someone? Is it to teach them the classics, teach them like the newest thing? Like, I don't know. It's a tough problem to think about. And like, I'm actually like, I'm getting the like syllabus for the class I'm going to be teaching, and like I have like creative whatever freedom to like adjust it. And like I'm thinking about it on like a high level. Like, is this? Am I teaching someone how to like deal with legacy code? Am I teaching someone how to deal with like building something in the future? How to like, is it a blend of the two? And like, I think you have to like pick what you want to optimize for, because there is so much time. And I think it's like we've talked about this with bootcamp. There's so much time, and you have to like pick your priority, and that is like a very difficult problem, I think.
I mean, I definitely have no problem with the approach of teaching time, tried and true and sort of things that have endured the test of time.
Sure.
But I wonder, like, is there a method for assessing, like, if newer ideas are good? Because I know there are like certain heuristics, like, oh, we won't like be interested in anything new. But if something is 15, 20, 30 years old and it has tons of adoption and like the smartest people in the world are into it, maybe it's worth like mentioning, like, hey, here's some like modern thoughts, blah, blah, blah.
Sure. I mean, I think with enough time of like full degree, something like that longer, like it definitely makes sense to have like some balance to it, and have a class that's like maybe very discussion based, very like more theory based about like the current state of things, and I don't know, understanding that the conversation being had. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right, we've hit it now.
Wrap up? Yeah. That was good chat. Good chat.
Yeah, that was really good.
Thanks.
That flew by.
Yeah. Well, thank you to all of our listeners. I know we started off with a little entertainment about some stories, but I think it got real.
Some good content. Yeah,
definitely.
All right, that was episode 18, I think, something like that.
Something like that. It can enroll in the army and smoke a pack of cigs. So.
Facts. Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Clubhouse.
Much love. Peace.
How do I stop this?